People always ask me, when am I going to grow up? I say never, because I love the zoo. I've been coming here my entire life. John Walzak, I turn 50 next year, and someone else is doing the same thing, right?
That's right. It's your Louisville Zoo, 50 years old in 2019. It's hard to say that.
Oh my
2019,
gosh, right?
you're going to be 50 years old.
Oh, man, you know what? The zoo has been part of my life. I was a kid. I remember looking over at the monkey exhibit when I was a little kid, and then I got to bring my children and ride the train. I'm getting a little emotional right now thinking about it. The zoo in Louisville is so important.
Oh, it is, and we're part of everyone's culture now. We're part of everyone's memories, which happens over 50 years. Now that we have 3 or 4 generations of history in a community, memories like yours, that's what the zoo's all about. It's about making great times, great memories, and exposing everybody to these wonderful animal ambassadors.
And of course, when my wife was pregnant, we would walk the hills, right? We walk the hills and get a little exercise. But the zoo, I mean, when you started, it was sort of a smaller scale. When you're starting out, man, in 1969, 1970, 71, it was a smaller scale. But how did that grow with Louisville?
Well, the original zoo, the first gift by James Graham Brown was $1.5 million, and we all know what construction costs have gone. The exhibit we're standing in today was about a $20 million exhibit.
Wow.
So we have grown. The attendance now at the park is around 800 to 900,000 guests every year. And the first days, of course, to have 100,000 guests was a lot of people. So we've grown with the community. Our mission has grown. We do more and more education programs beyond the guests coming through the park. And it's a great environment to get everybody exposed towards all the health issues facing the planet.
Right.
Species conservation.
Yes.
Pick your whatever the issue is about environment or climate. You can learn about it right here at the zoo.
John, watershed moments for the zoo, the gorilla exhibit probably would that be one of them?
Well, it's probably back in the late 80s, early 90s. 1989, we opened up the Herp Aquarium. Our attendance went from 400,000 guests a year to 570,000 guests a year.
Nice.
So we went up 23%. Gorilla Force was a huge milestone. It was our first year. We almost hit 800,000 guests.
Right.
And then, of course, Islands. The Islands exhibit now, which is going to be 22 years old, was the first multi-species rotational exhibit in the world. And we really set a tone of innovation, which is now 20 years later. It's wonderful to see other zoos imitating what we created over 20 years ago.
Oh, the zoo is so awesome. Turning 50 now, that's the past. As we look towards the future, what do we have, John?
As we look towards the future, we've got some phenomenal exhibits planned in our master plan, which is online. Anybody could look it up. We're going to be doing our African Savannah. We want to create an African Safari Base Camp, which will be our education center. A new entry. We want a much more welcoming entry to the park, and an ambassador animal center, so that we could do more active engagements with guests on grounds. These will be animals that are tractable, that we can bring out onto the grounds with the guests. It might be a serval cat, it might be a prehensile tailed porcupine, but we'll get this close with the animals to be able to tell their story, tell the story of the environment, and get people to want to learn more about these.
Boy, I've seen businesses that grow and learn and change, but I don't think anything like America's zoos, including the Louisville Zoo, has changed with the concepts. It really is fascinating.
I've been in this profession now almost 40 years, and to see how we've evolved and how the science is involved in everything that we do today in terms of the animal welfare. We study the animal welfare with PhDs in universities around the country, the environmental impact, the field studies, our partnerships with the field scientists. We partner with about a dozen different organizations that are actually doing the research in the remnant wild with the animals to help study them.
John Walzak is here with me, and it's the zoo, one of my favorite places in Louisville, and it's one of the best attractions. The whole place is an attraction. So come on out to the Louisville Zoo, turning 50 real soon.